Okay, I just wanted to show you a quick preview of the PPW app so we can get full benefits of the work order information while we're out in the field. So I've opened my PPW app and I'm going to select on this initial secure work order, and I'm just going to look at it just like we normally do. We've got all the work order information, the address, the loan info, because we need that for the lockbox a lot of times, and then some comment information, and then down here we've got work order items. So we know we need a lock change. So we're going to click on the word lock change, and it's going to pull up additional information for the lock change. It's going to tell you to do the primary door on HUD properties for initial secures, then all other investors are the secondary door. So you look at what key code needs to be used. You've got your key code down at the bottom of the 44535, and then we just need to know what kind of loan type, whether it's a primary door or secondary door. And so we're going to close out of that. Click back up here, and it does not say what kind of loan it is, so we're going to do a secondary door. If it doesn't specify, we're going to do secondary. Then we're going to go to the lockbox. It's going to tell us the lockbox information. Right here we see set the code to the last 4 digits of the loan number. Loan number can be found on the previous screen when you first access your work order right there. Then we're going to go to high pressure system check. They want HUD loans, mortgagees to pressure all water test lines at the first property securing. So if this is initial securing, first time we've ever been to the property, we're going to do a pressure check to make sure the pressure holds at 35 psi. And if it does not, you need to have reasons why it doesn't and find damages, pictures of what's causing it not to hold pressure. So then we're going to go to install repair CO2 detector. It says right there, bid only. Bid to install a CO2 monitor. So what we want to do there is we want to go through and take pictures of any CO2 detectors that are already at the property to show that the bid is not needed. Next we're going to go to install repair flooring, and it is a bid only. So we want to notate any damages of trip hazards, urine stained carpet, things like that need to be on the bids. We're going to go down to thaw property, and if the property's frozen, they want a detailed breakdown of how the cost of thawing will be determined and number of types of heaters to be used, an example like that. It's very rare that we run into frozen properties, but if we do, these are the things that we need. Install repair handrail. We see right here it says bid only, so anything that needs a handrail installed, we just need to have measurements of how many linear feet there's going to be needed and pictures of where it's going to go. We're going to move on down to extermination, and it's a bid only. You do not treat for these pests while you're on site. These are very hard to photograph, but a whiteboard will help in this instance. Say it's fleas. You'll know if you have fleas when you walk out. You'll be itchy. You may even see a few fleas. Sometimes the property may just smell like dogs are in it. I would bid for fleas. So write it on your whiteboard, house infested with fleas, bid to exterminate. Board openings. Here it says if the property is found unsecure, to board all accessible openings according to investor insurer guidelines. So if you have open windows, anything like that, you are to board them and list dimensions of the wood used. And everything should be boarded to HUD specs. If you're not familiar with HUD specs, please email me. I can send you some documentation on how to board to HUD specs. Next would be a sump pump. If the utilities are on, sump pump is present and missing, not working, repair the sump pump for the investor allowable. Usually that allowable is around $30. That's to just do some minor repair, tweaking to put it back together. Maybe the where the water goes out, maybe that's cracked or broken, and you can tape it up and repair it in that way. Things like that. And then supply a bid for a sump pump to, it says if utilities are not on, provide a bid for the sump pump to be replaced or whatever. So just note, take pictures anytime a sump pump's present in the property. You want to take pictures of everything, and you want to notate in your comments whether it is working or not working. Winterization, for this particular one, you want to follow the state winterization seasons, and it lists those seasons for you. Please make sure you open this tab at all times, because Some states are winterizing year-round. Replace window locks, again, is a bid only. So you want to just make sure if anything like that's missing to notate it on their whiteboard. And we'll place bids to install some window locks. Well closing disconnection, again, is a bid. If something like that's needed, just take photos and notate it so we can bid to take care of it. Utilities, you always want to check the utilities when you're at a property. And then we will, it says bid only, but technically we will just notify them of their state, if they're on or off. And if it's needed, they'll supply us with the information if they want us to go and contact. But majority of the time they contact them themselves. So we just need to make note of what's going on there. Then we have trim shrubs, and here it says bid to only to trim the shrubs. So you want to take good pictures of it. And then notate on your whiteboard, or just if you take good pictures with measurements, that's plenty. You don't have to notate it, but it's always good in your favor if you're going back to the property to have a proper bid if you've notated what's going on. And it does say here to identify any dead trees within 10 foot of the house. Those are good bid approval sometimes right there. So make sure you take note and do that if necessary. Sorry about that. We're going to go down to snow removal. Again, it's probably a performance of snow removal. We're not in snow season, but if it was snow season, you would have the go-ahead to remove the snow. Install, repair smoke detectors, bid to install. Same thing as a CO2 detector, just take pictures if they're already there. If not, we'll bid to install some. Or if you forget to take pictures of them, we'll bid to install some, and you're going to go back and possibly not need to install them because they weren't photographed on the initial secure correctly. Here's a big one on roof repair. Here they want you to bid only if there's an active roof leak or the roof has a tarp on it currently. Submit bid to repair the area and replace the entire roof, including dimensions, materials to be used, and the other. So what we need on this is we need to know if the roof is actively leaking. That must be reported on a whiteboard, because if there's stains on the ceiling, our processing team will identify a roof leak, and we need to know if it's active or not. So we want that documented. And then you want to make sure you look at the roof itself to see what the dimensions are on what needs to be taken care of and fixed. We're going to go down to foundation repair. Just always review the foundation. Any cracks or things like that, take pictures of it. And we're going to provide bids for that as well. Remove of personal property. Never automatically remove anything unless the work order says so. But we're always going to place bids for that. So take photos, good photos of all of the debris that's present at the properties, so we can determine through your photos what is personals, what is not, what needs to be removed, and place bids on that. Same thing with interior debris. Same thing. Do not remove it. Take photos. Remove exterior debris again. All of these have a pop-up window. We're going to reglaze window. They want here, submit a bid to board and reglaze any broken windows at the property. Pump water from basement. If the basement's flooded, submit a bid to pump the water from the basement. Please read this line, because a lot of times they will tell you to do it and bid after the fact. But in this particular instance, they want pictures so we can bid. So you'll need a yardstick or tape measure measurement and photos of the flooded basement, crawl space, cellar, things like that. Post sign, very important. You'll get sent back for these numerous times if these are not documented well. There are signs in the PPW forms and documents. The 8x10 P101 sign is a major securing sign that you'll want to have with you at all times for non-Wells Fargo MCS orders. And you'll want to make sure it's posted in the front window of the property. So you'll take pictures of the window with no sign, the sign in your hand showing what sign you're posting, and the sign in the window from the back is fine, of it postage going out towards the front of the house. Next we have pool or spa secure. They want bids. Pretty self-explanatory. Just make sure you open each one of these line items. Plumbing repairs are the same. Submit a bid for any plumbing damage. That's going to go along with your pressure test. If you find any reason that it's not holding water or any lines that are disconnected, you'll want to make sure you take photos of them. Plumbing inspection is a visual inspection. That's what you're doing with your photos. Photos is just another line item. It tells you exactly the photos that they are expecting on every work order. Read through it, get used to what's going on and what they're wanting so you don't get sent back for certain photos. Other inspection is just a general property if it's occupied or vacant. You usually call on occupied properties, but you've got to have 2 occupancy indicators. One is usually contact, and then you don't need another one. But a couple would be electricity on, neighbor says somebody was there, noise was heard, things like that. Other building, you want to report anything. That means you want to go into sheds, outbuildings, and take photo documentation of everything that's going on. Patch roof is just another roof damage line item, and you want to see if you can take bids on that. Mold treatment. They want a detailed bid to treat mold. Anytime you find mold, try to find the source of the mold and document it on your whiteboard so the bids can be placed properly for the remedy of the mold. We have a miscellaneous item here, and all it's telling you to do is inspect the property for roof, water, vandalism, and plumbing, smoke, damage, things like that. 7 photos are required of each damaged area. Not necessarily the 7 of the same photos, but show a story of to where the photo is, of where the damage is, what room it's in, close up, a little further away, and just show it in detail. Install sump pump. We've already talked about the sump pump once, but just make sure you provide photos of the sump pump area. Then it's got your initial grass cut and wants you to follow the season guidelines. If the grass height exceeds 24 inches, cannot be cut for the allowable. You can either call us from site for an approval or submit a bid as required. You want to make sure you get a good measurement of the yard if you're going to submit a bid. You cannot call us from site after 5 p.m. or on the weekends to get a bid approval. We have to be able to contact the client. So if it's on the weekends or after 5 p.m., you'll just have to submit the bids. We have HVAC inspection. It's just a visual inspection. Take photos to document that it's there and undamaged, or if it's damaged, just photo documents of that as well. This here is your gutters. It just wants photos if the gutters are clean or if they're full of debris and need to be cleaned out. We have a general repairs tab as well. Just tells you to document anything that you see going on the exterior of the property. Grass cut is just for bidding because in initial secure you're completing the initial grass cut. This is just for oversized lots that will require bids to do the recuts. Otherwise we'll recut for the allowables. We have an install repair garage door, and that's a bid. We have a repair fence bid. Just make sure you get plenty of photos to justify what work needs to be completed, and document on your whiteboard to help the processing team out. Which one are we at here? We're at additional info or emergency repairs. If damage is left untreated will result in further deterioration of the home, call from site immediately and we may be able to authorize a bid after the fact. This would be considered an active roof leak or flooded basement would be something I would call from site on. Install dehumidifier is a bid only, and that would be if there's lots of mold present. Clean toilet. Just take pictures of inside the toilets just like you would on normal work orders, but this one you want to make sure you do so we can put bids in. Same thing with clean fridge. You want to take pictures of the inside of the fridge anytime it's present. Cap water lines. Always take pictures of the washer and the washer hot and cold lines and the hot water heater line. Those are the 3 water lines that we cap the most. We also will cap any water lines from the refrigerator ice maker line that may be there. Gas lines. Make sure you get pictures of the gas line so we can bid to cap those. A good picture of those showing the size and dimension of the gas cap would be helpful on your return visit. Dryer vents. You want to take a picture from the interior side of the dryer vent, and we bid to cap those to prevent any rodents from entering the home. Chimney caps, just with your roof photos, take a picture if your chimney cap is missing or if it's present, so we don't bid to replace it if it's not needed. Here's a board window. It goes along with like your board openings. If the property is found unsecure, make sure you get good measurements of anything that's done there. Bid to satisfy violations. If there's any violations posted at the property upon your arrival, you want to make sure that you take any photos of that. If the time frame is getting ready to expire, go ahead and call from site. We'll call in and see if they want the violations taken care of as a bid after the fact. Otherwise, we will just place bids to take care of whatever they were wanting. The one and done bid is just for the processing team itself. You just want to make sure you get photos of everything that needs to be taken care of so we can place one bid towards them so they can approve all of it and send it back to us so we can get one trip back to the property to complete everything and put the property in conveyance condition. So I just wanted to go over that just to show you the work order and how much detail is at your fingertips while you're on site to prevent any confusion. And then any work that is completed while you're there, if you could just go to the bid completion tab up at the top. And you don't have to put bids in if you're using a whiteboard, but you can put bids in here of just documentation of what's going on. A whiteboard would be a lot easier for you, but that's there just in case. But the add a completion, if you could use that with whatever you've done, like quantity or item description even, we'll go quantity 1. And then we'll put shed door. And then it'll tell you up here, but if you would have put item description first, lock, padlocks, it'll show quantity 1 lock, padlock on the shed door, and then just save it. That'll help the processing team with your invoicing to make sure they match your pictures up with everything that was done. If you keep your pictures right in order of before, during, and after on everything that you complete, that's a lot easier for the processing team, but this completion screen will help as well for your invoicing. Thank you.